Hey everybody, welcome back to SketchCraft Live. Okay, so I'm back. Getting closer and closer to getting back on normal schedule. Very close. I can feel it. Alright, so put on some tunes. What am I doing? I'm going to work on One Punch. Get the chat room up here, get everything loaded. That video's not working. Let's reload that. Pop out. Hey, heads up, everybody. There is stuff in the SketchCraft store. ShopSketchCraft.com. So I actually do have stuff up in there right now. I'll pimp it later. But there's those Batman prints and Final Fantasy prints are up in there. So plus some artwork. There we go. All right. Stuff. I got stuff in there. All right, Kyle. See, Kyle's busy. Where'd I put the other pen? Here it is. Funny thing about Kyle is I was supposed to receive his Rick and Morty metallics 2 weeks ago, and I just realized I don't have it yet. So I go and fucking make a phone call a couple days ago, like, "Hey, where's my shit?" And they're like, "Oh, it got lost in the system. Um, should be here this week." But yeah, that was fun. Mike, it says it's still processing. What's up? Well, we don't know. Thank you. I gotta use my old metallic printers until I can get this printer that I got. The color that it renders is strange. I have to figure out different settings. So rather than make Kyle wait another month, I gotta go to my old vendors. Which just cost me more money, but whatever. Kyle's good for it. He's worth it. Use color pencil here. Do the brightest, lightest yellow parts. Is it too late? You still in Florida? So it started snowing over here this morning, and I was like telling my wife, I'm like, hey, uh, I'll probably run to the store if it clears up. If not, I might just have to drive around the block a few times to kind of get used to driving on the snow again because it's been a few years for me. And she's like, oh, it'll be burned up by noon. Everyone tells her that the snow doesn't stick. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know about that one. It's still snowing. And they're like, it's never happened like this. I'm like, yeah, well, now I'm here. So with me, all things. Expect the unexpected. The Mad Hatter. What is isn't. Welcome to my life. Got a Batman print. Thanks, Crusher. Crusher supporting the team. So I'll get those in the mail first thing tomorrow. That'll be fun. Drive down to the post office. Yeah. Right. Get back from on the 12th. Let's drop Vegas. Go through there. Go straight to Vegas. Nice. If you go to Vegas, you get some bread pudding, dude. It's it's essential when you're in Vegas to get bread pudding. Where is my one punch ref? This is why I painted a hole. Veggies out the bag. I know, right? Hey, what's up, Dom? Just one punch in it. One punch. Sub brain. Thank you. It's getting there, right? What's up, Leon? Are any of you guys going to watch season 2? Oh, yeah, dude. We're going to do a whole wrap up. We did the wrap up for season 1. We'll do it again for season 2. That was just a bald guy. He didn't actually one punch anybody. Yeah, the Batman's looking dope. Don't fuck it up. What's up, Felix? When I first got to go to the ranch, say 20-minute chunk of mine. It was awesome. That's what I hear. I don't know what people are so afraid of. We've already seen the worst Star Wars is gonna get. It's called Attack of the Clones. People can't. I just don't know if people can understand like how bad that movie. Now the editing, I'm interested to see how it'll work out. Because every time a Star Wars movie comes out, minus. I mean, well, it's not every time, but you know they Will it feel super fast? I don't know. What will be the tone, the tempo be? I'm interested in that. I haven't felt Force Awakens could have used a little bit of padding in areas, you know? We'll see. It's not even the CG, bro. It's just the basic fucking story and the direction and everything. Like, let's get beyond the visual effects. I mean, that's a given, but, you know? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Space Monkey looks more violent than Yoda with a lightsaber. I think of the value. I don't know. I'm just pushing. Well, it's just grays. So all I'm doing is trying to push, yeah, I guess the contrast back a little bit. You know, gotta let the white do most of the job, really. You know, it's not that big a deal. But yeah, I mean, it depends on what. If like his cape is more, if I wanted to put color, it could have just been some light blues. Really, you want two tones, like a C3 and a C5. So it could be the same value, but with two purples, like a light pink to a medium purple. But I already got purple back here. Um, his tone, his people is in the cartoon. It's naturally grayish versus bluish. So I just went with the C3s. But same basic idea. If this was like, you know, if you had like a nice little fairy girl kind of like thing going on, it could be a light pink and maybe a salmon red for the midtone. And then yeah, you let the white do the rest. That's why I do a Kyle. That's why we do this, the practice, so we can see what that looks like before we start. Sub, Joey. See, my dog wants to fight Amazon. It's my dog. My dog trying to be tough. Give me a second. All right. What do I think is missing in comics art-wise? Not all of it, but I think a lot of it. The art. I think the art is missing in comics. Especially mainstream, not independent. Independent is there, but look like a book like Mouse Guard. A book like that could not be done at Marvel and DC. You know, it's like they want them all to look super professional. They all just sort of homogenize themselves at this point. Marvel probably being the worst, where it's just filled with endless computer-generated pictures of New York. Just so they can get every window and every building drawn perfectly. No, well, look, it's a commercial enterprise. I'm not going to say it's commercial's a problem. I think it's being art directed by people who aren't artists, you know? And I don't think there's anything new about that. It's just gotten worse and worse. You know? They don't want it to look like art. They want it to look close to a movie or pictures of humans, or movie, actors and stuff. And if you do something artistic, you're told you don't know how to draw, you know? Like imperfections, it's okay. I mean, if I had my way, books would be released in black and white and the trades would be in color, you know? So you could focus more on volume, get more story out of it versus, 22 pages, man. That's why manga does so well, because of the length. But then again, the biggest problem facing comics isn't even the art, it's the fact that artists don't own their shit. There's no incentive to create new characters for companies when you're not going to own anything. You know? And that's the oldest fucking thing in the book, so nothing's changed. Yeah. No proportions, no shape plane, no nothing. No, they just stick to this homogenized fucking generic ho-hum. Go look at Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. You can see how that's bled itself into the video games. What did Marvel vs. Capcom and Marvel superheroes and those games used to look like? And go look at that. And you can see what Marvel vs. Capcom 3, like some kind of middle ground where they're trying to maybe we'll add these big ink shadows, but then it's also filled with bada boom fonts and the game was super dark. And now there's nothing. It's just schlotzy, ho-hum, generic nonsense. You know? Why is the best Superman story I've read in 20 years called One Punch Man? I know why. You know, should be one American Superman comic that's drawn as cinematic as One Punch Man manga. Come on. And the creator of One Punch gets to see the financial reward, you know? Yeah, Jumpin' Shoe Man. Yeah. I mean, they're never going to make a Superman cartoon that's as cinematic as fucking One Punch Man with all the different animators. I mean, it's ridiculous. The gap is so far. Imitate the original superheroes from the 80s and 90s. They're not. A lot of those guys are frowned upon. I wish, at least with the 80s and 90s thing, you know, like, it was still guys with inkers, you know? But now it's like, believe me, man, when I get offers, it's like, oh, you know, you're going to ink and do all this? And I got to draw, I got to ink, and I don't own anything. And the writer gets all the credit for the story, you know? Like, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? Fuck that plan. Like, sounds great for, guess who's on payroll? Oh, maybe the writer, you know? I wonder how that worked out. Just let the editors write the book so Marvel owns everything for certain, you know? But I might get a credit in the movie one day. I'll get a little credit. Get a little credit. Yeah, they make a lot of people do their own inks, bro. You know? And I don't mean like loose inks, dude. You know what I mean? I mean, it's why a lot of guys, dude, just you know, either that or they're coloring the straight pencils, which, you know, that's a lot of tight rendering. You may as well just ink the fucking thing. You know? You're awesome, Eric. I've never had the, you know, the oh my god, I got to work at Marvel DC. Oh my god, that would make me. I've never had it. I grew up with comics right around the time Turtles came out and the whole creators' rights revolution, which is what Image was about for me. It wasn't about like how they drew characters. It was, you know, the fact that you'd own the fucking shit that you actually made. Yeah, even loose things it's insane, bro. You know, I mean, a lot of those pinup like McFarlane did a lot of pinups here and there because it was easier, you know. But now they got tons of like you got to have all the jets and the fucking vehicles and the fucking house, and they all want them realistic, you know. It's crazy. I think it starts with telling a Superman story that goes beyond, you know, basic Superman conventions. Just having to say, okay, if he's too powerful, how do you deal with that? You know, just the creativity, dude. But we know what they turn it into? Who killed who? Or maybe Superman will punch a guy and he looks, you know, I don't know, man. You know, just, oh, I know the production's way different. I just don't care. You know, like I can't control it. So I don't spend my money on American cartoons, you know, the 2D ones. Unless it's like Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty's fucking awesome. Yeah, man, I still think that Neil Gaiman thing is weird on both sides. You know, at the end of the day, it fucking breaks my heart that Angela will probably be in a Thor movie, you know, at some point. So I've just moved on, dude. But the courts decided, so there you go. Really, it had to do with Miracle Man. It had nothing to do with Angela. You know, it's kind of like when Paul McCartney bought all the Beatles, or when Michael Jackson bought all the Beatles music. That's what it felt like to me. You know. Obadubadubub. You know, our creativity, with animation could be the writing, apparently, but man, if you let Dan Harmon make a Superman book, it'd just be so over the top. People just they'll revolt. This is not Superman. Take it serious. Can it be a young justice? It's like, mango. Yeah, well, whatever. I got no love for Marvel, man. I like the movies. That's it. They've caused me too much trouble in my life to give a flying fuck about them. Uh, Avengers cartoon so bad. I had to actually work on the kid shirts for Hulk Smash and the Avengers thing. It's fucking so tough, dude. I'm like, no kid's gonna give a fuck about this. No, no, see, it's got to. I'm like, no one's gonna give a fuck. Can we just give them dogs? Avengers with dogs. Can we go back to that formula? Because at least you'd get the funny dog. I miss that formula. Yeah, but they don't care about telling stories, dude. They care about selling action figures. So, yeah, there you go. And by the way, the action figures didn't sell that much. So it didn't work. The little formulas don't work. You know? They're not even selling that many toys. That's the beautiful part about it. The merchandise, the backpacks, it doesn't even sell. Like that. And I know because I've gotten the sales. Like, okay, see, here's the thing. You guys got to figure out how to, like, plug Minecraft in this. I'm like, why don't you just fucking go make a Minecraft Avenger show? That'll get kids to buy it. Instead of fucking endlessly ripping off other shit to shove into your shit. Hey, maybe you're not supposed to be selling billions of units of Hulk every fucking month forever. Maybe it's going to come and go. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, common sense. It's a problem. You know? Rotate some shit in and out, man. Old argument. It's the same argument I had about Star Wars back in 2012. They're like, you got to find a way to save it because the 3D release came out and tanked, and none of the fucking episode ones, not one Darth Maul shirt, nothing sold. And I was like, it's because the movie sucks. I mean, here's an idea. The movie sucks. And no one, and despite what the internet says, I actually like Darth Maul. And okay, look, man, I do too. But the majority of the people, if you get caught wearing an episode one shirt, you're gonna get clowned. You know how that works. So they're like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, they need a new movie. They got to reboot this. Not so much reboot, but reinvigorate. The time was 2012. I'm like, it'll be if they started today, it'd be 10 years since the last movie came out. There's Avengers that just came out. I'm like, I mean, it's really quite simple. It's not an art department's job at a t-shirt company or Mattel's job to save the fucking. Look, you know what Lucas did when they were going down this path? There was a famous story about this over at Kenner. They were trying to save their jobs. And so the guy over at Kenner came with the whole plan for toys post Jedi. Wrote a whole story up, the whole thing. Everyone at Kenner loved it. He went there, pitched it, and Lucas was horrified. And he's like, they took all the toys off the shelves. This will come back later. That you got to give Lucas credit. That's smart, And I was like, maybe they should just take it off the shelves until they make another movie. Oh, no. Walmart, I don't know about that. Well, they weren't ridiculously successful in the late 80s. They'd had their run, man. Transformers were out. I'm sorry, the mid 80s. Transformers was out. Nintendo was out. Star Wars toys were in the KB toys, $3-4 bin. The Powers of the Force collections and stuff like that. Sure, like Darth Vader's were hard to find, but the market was flooded with a bunch of useless fucking Muppets from Jedi. All the band members. I just paid attention when I was a kid, Plus, I used to clean up on those fucking aisles. I got all the Earthworm Jim toys when I was a senior in high school for nothing. Because they were all in those bins. Which you don't have anymore at Walmart, I miss the KB bins. No, they over fucking did it with Iron Man 2's merchandise. Because they didn't have enough for the first Iron Man. So what did they do? They gave the license to 3 other companies. And then Walmart had this giant. My company, the company I was working with at the time, they were working on it. I watched them do this. It was hilarious. And we got the official AC/DC. So then they had to split all that merchandise amongst AC/DC and Marvel, and the licensors and Marvel. Marvel gets a guarantee. I don't know what AC/DC's cut was, or whoever reps them, William Morris or the fucking I can't remember who. It's always these middle license companies. And it didn't work out for them. That's why you always see Iron Man on a shirt with someone else. Because they're like, Iron Man's not enough to sell himself. You have to put him on a team-ups. Like, yeah, you guys got it real figured out. I actually got an Iron Man shirt to sell by itself post Iron Man 2. It's that one on Red Heather with the yellow head. I made it, and then fucking Marvel took it and made their own version of it, put in the style guide, so everyone got it. Wasn't really a fucking genius idea, but it's pretty common sense. What's your number one selling shirt? Red Heather. All right, put the Iron Man lines on it. It's just the lines? Yeah. That's what Marvel does. You come up with a design, right? This is great, right? It's Marvel. It's not Disney. It's Marvel. This is really great, right? You come up with a design that works. They take your design, and the next time they put out a style guide, that design, their version of it, goes in their style guide. Or they'll reject you doing the original idea and then put their version of it in the next style guide. Either way. And so then those style guides go to all your competitors, right? So guess who gets all the fruits of your labor? And then you wonder why you're seeing the same design everywhere, by the way. And so the people who used to design shirts utilizing elements from style guides now get handed entire designs from Disney/Marvel. And those companies are basically just there for the relationship. Like, okay, this company has a relationship with Walmart, so they'll get it. And this company has a relationship with Target, and they'll get it. But it's the same style guides, and they want less and less people coming up with ideas. They're just like, oh no 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 no, you just do what we give you. And the people working on those fucking shirts don't know a thing about fucking fashion. Nothing. That's why I got out, man. I'm like, it's over. It's over, guys. Game over, man. Game over. Put her in charge, you know. I watched 10 years of it, man. Saw it go down the fucking shitter. Every original idea I came up with on Age of Ultron got rejected. I came up with these Mobius style shirts, you know. I came up with fucking these pinball shirts. I mean, all kinds of shit, dude. You know. It just got tiring, you know. I tried to put Mobius's actual Marvel. He did some Marvel art. It's buried on their servers. I tried to put those on a shirt a few years back. They weren't having that. Tried to get it at Old Navy. This is not representative of Spider-Man. He's not even in a city. I'm like, it's Mobius, man. Like, but the people over there in licensing don't know who Mobius is, dude. You know, it's sad. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, dude. You learn to like let go. Good thing about that process is it teaches you not to give a shit when they reject ideas because it has nothing to do. You're like, it's not me, man. It really is them. So whatever. Yeah, we're all looking forward to the Battle Chasers game. Amazing. It's turn based. Shocking. You know, it might be the only turn based RPG I get made with mature graphic or some mature, but something not little chibis. How did I get that job? Long time ago. I got in around 2005, 2004 because I could draw, and at the time, being able to draw mattered. And then over 10 years, it just went. If you go look at, you can find these graphics for like T-shirt retail and watch 2005 as the peak. So I got in literally at the peak, and then it just boom. Like every time I get a job, I get into game magazines, it crashes. Get into T-shirts, it crashes. It's hilarious. But I had a friend at the time who was doing storyboards, cleanup. So he didn't do the storyboards. The storyboards were cleanup. It was on the Turtles cartoon, that one from 2004, right? So they sent him a stack of stuff, and it's like these storyboards are like half of them are just stick figures, and he had to turn all these things and put them on model. Now my friend was extremely lazy, and at the time he was gloating to me. I'm working on turtles. I'm working because he knew I loved the turtles, and he didn't give a shit. And he was just like gloating, and so I sat back. I'm like, he's never gonna do that work on time. So I knew eventually he'd call me for help, and sure enough, one day I get the call for help. He's like, man, I just, like, it's just a lot of work. I'm like, huh. And he was no good at drawing perspective or cars or buildings and shit. So I spent over to his house for a weekend and helped him get all this shit done. And at the time, his day gig was at this t-shirt company. So I was like, look, I'll help you out. You cover food, and fucking drinks. And I said, I want to get my portfolio in front of your art director. And he's like, all right. So that's how I got my job. I was grateful for it, man. I got to learn a whole new trade. But it was a wake up call to see how things, when I could see how they were progressing. I tried to get out with the game magazines, but You know, after the recession, had to go back to t-shirts. It's like the sales they can handle, even though given the decline. The problem is just the lack of creativity is horrible, and there's no room for it. You know, I mean, I remember before, you know, while we're still waiting for the Force Awakens to come out, I had this guy, a sales rep, come on, and he was like, "The '90s are back," and I'm looking at him, and he's still wearing all the same shit from the '90s because he's like, you know, 15 years my age. So I'm like, "Yeah, all right, buddy." And he was like, "Remember Was Up? This is a true story, right? Remember Was Up? What's up?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let's do it with Star Wars. You put them all on the shirt, like Brady Bunch style, three across, three down, square. Each character going, 'What's up?'" And I looked at him, and I'm like, I look back at my art director. I'm like, "Really? Am I really? Please don't." You know, this is a colossal. And he's like, "Well, we got to try it. They put him in charge." And I'm like, you know, like, so I had to spend fucking, you know, the better part of 2 days figuring that shirt out. And let me tell you, the Lucasfilm people were not happy. But I did make the best Star Wars Was Up shirt you'll never see. You know, that shirt ever turns up, you know who did it under protest. Yeah, that was a bad day, guys. It was a bad day at work. It was just a week or two before the Boston bombing, because I remember that's how I got through the shirt. Was listening. Sad to say that. Oh God, that's true. You know, I think I've managed to omit the details of that day. That's how I got through the day. I was working on the Was Up shirt. Was listening to the CB streams from the police during the Boston bombing. I was like, here's the shirt every fan is asking for. Was up. Eventually, Lucasfilm put the kibosh on the jokes on the shirt, so they stopped those stormtroopers on the roller coasters and Darth Vader with the kitten thing. That's why they also canceled that stupid cartoon they were making because they were like, "This is actually hurting our brand." I'm like, "No shit!" Like, someone over there gets it. It's probably JJ who's like, "Guys, this is stupid." You know, and these jokes are doing more harm than good. It's like short-term gain, long-term fail. I was trying to tell people at the time, you know, like all these joke shirts, man. You know, like it's so easy to do it, but it's got to be like when Disney was doing those fucking direct-to-DVD sequels. You know, like yeah, they're making a lot of money now because it's kind of a goof, but at some point, that goof is going to cut right into your sales of legitimate merchandise. Now it's almost too serious, right? Like I went into Walmart because they always go to these extremes. So I go into Walmart the other day, and they got this Force for Change booth when you walk in. You know, and it's these T-shirts you buy, and they go help for charity, Force for Change, which is nice. But the fucking designs, like you just know they went to fucking Pinterest and typed in design and just picked the fucking top 100 weirdest, stupid fucking looks you could think of and put them on a shirt. You know, like so they have nothing to do with Star Wars in a complete opposite direction. So the jokes are over here, and then weird monolithic, you know, fucking modern postmodernist design over here. And now it's just, you know, It's like it's too much with the design, folks. No one's gonna wear that shit. You know? But I stay out of it, man. You know? Well, Hot Topic didn't make anything, right? So you can't blame Hot Topic. Hot Topic doesn't make shirts. I've done a lot of work for Hot Topic. They get them through licensors. So licensors go through DeviantArt. Case in point, I'm on DeviantArt. So I get a fucking one day I get a bunch of fucking shit on the table. They want to, so these art directors can't blame the art director all the time. It's 50-50 art director, 50-50 sales rep. The sales rep work for, like, say, a Hot Topic, right? And so they will hand something that they want. Like, say the sales rep says, I see someone DeviantArt, I want something like this, hand it to the art director and the sales team or art director at this company. This guy goes, we want something like this, to the artist. The artist makes something like that. That goes back over here, gets handed to the rep, and they go, no, we want something like this. Not like it, but like it. And when they mean like it, they want that. See how that works? So they got to go back. And so what's happened now is it's happened so many times, the sales rep never has to once say, we want that, so they can't get in trouble. The sales person over here, the person that talks to the rep, they do it for them. And if they get in trouble, they just move around different stores, right? That's how it works. And so now these salespeople are then handing designs that they print off the internet to the art directors that then have to knock them off. You know? It's sickening. I've had my own shit handed to me. Like, like I'm the guy who did that. You know? If I did this here, you wouldn't let me do it. But because I did it on the internet after hours, you bring it back and now I can, oh, whatever. Like, it is, guys, you know. And it hasn't helped that the internet has a billion bootleg shirts, those 24-hour bootleg sales. And so they got to compete with guys that are making crazy crossover shirts that could never exist. Like, the He-Man fucking Star Wars shirt, slash Mario Zombie shirt, slash fucking Calvin and Hobbes. Those are things that could never be done in licensing. That just exists on the internet. And so people are spending their money on that. This is why I lose my shit when artists try to fucking do it to themselves with conventions. You gotta get this character because this movie's coming out. And no. It's like, fuck that, Just fucking draw shit you're passionate about. If you love fucking Captain America, do some Captain America art. You know what I mean? But don't fucking sit here and start throwing shit in your portfolio because a movie's coming out. You know? I've had some very interesting work experiences, folks. All the while, I wish that was the worst of it. I wish the art or the lack of it was the worst of it. The worst of it is the fucking conditions in which they make you make that stuff. When you're in-house, that's the worst of it. I mean, we had these guys about this company and fucking they put video cameras everywhere, and so then they started timing how long people were going to the bathrooms. Like some little old lady would sit there and look at the cameras and count how long it took you to make a coffee. Like sometimes when I make a design and I need a few minutes, I'll go make a coffee, sit and think about it. I'm apparently wasting their money. I'm on salary. I'm not being paid hourly. But even if I was, like, I'm actually like it's a deadline based industry. It's not, volume. That's just one of many things. Like, no, they weren't Japanese. If they were Japanese, and they would have at least cared about the quality of the shit they were making. These guys didn't. I mean, I once for the Winter Soldier, I once saw a sales rep who got people fired, artists, for not producing enough work. Get an order for J.C. Penney's. This is great, right? Get an order for J.C. Penney's for Winter Soldier, 20,000 units. Right? Later, Kyle. 20,000 units of shirts set on a pallet and never shipped because she just forgot to fill out the paperwork. The sales rep. And just kind of like laughed off. Oh, well, 20,000 units. Just sat there. Might have been 10,000 units, but okay, so let's just say 10,000 units. you know, it's a system where just if you're an artist, you suck, and they would people like in accounting would complain about artists. They just get to sit there and like make stuff. It's like, oh, you fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it's a horrible industry. I have nothing nice to say about it. I'd rather work at fucking. I would rather work at Starbucks. 'Cause at least if the customers are assholes, you can be like, yeah, that customer is definitely an asshole. They leave. They don't stay there. Or maybe you got that one guy who stays there too long. But you know what I mean? I guess you could just leave it at work. I don't know. All I know, as I've said before, the two things I thought would make me a real professional artist was going to art school, getting a degree, and having a full-time job making art. And the things that made me want to never be an artist was going to school, getting a degree, and working full-time as an artist. You know? Like all this you see here, there isn't one person in the art department that I used to work at that can do this now. Not one. What they'll do is they'll get those giant canvases and they'll do some bullshit fucking painting, where like they're endlessly tracing over or redrawing photos from models or some shit. And then they walk around in their fucking hipster nonsense, acting like they're super artists and shit. It's just nonsense. It's just all tiring. After my father died, I just had to reevaluate my entire fucking life, career wise. I'm like, something went wrong here. I gotta get out of this. This is toxic. It's not worth it. Whatever this is, it's not worth it. No big deal. This is a broken record, Joey. This is why I do the podcast. Like I talked about it a million times, and I try to like tell people like not to say it's going to be your experience because every career is different, but it is an experience and it's one that many artists right now are having, you know, and they're being told, well, you should just be quote unquote. I'm not even like quote unquote. You just be lucky you have a job. And I was telling my art director back in like 2009, I said, when I first saw 3D printers, I'm like, it's going to get to the point where Walmart just has some of these t-shirt printers in the back and they'll just order designs straight from Marvel, Disney or whoever, and they'll just print up the numbers they need and they won't even give a fuck about, you won't even need artists or designers. And he was like, man, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. I'm like, and now he's like seriously reconsidering his whole career because it is moving that way. You know, a lot of shirts you see now are direct to garment, right on the shelf. The price points are getting there, so Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely consider yourself, dude. You know, there's nothing wrong for feeling, grateful or lucky. When I was at Play, Dave, Dave Halverson was great to me. I mean, finally, I got a guy who was like, he just wanted the quality of the work I was producing to be the best. And if I was a little behind schedule, he didn't care if it was for the quality, not because Rob was fucking off. He got it, and I appreciated that, and so I stuck with Dave for as long as I could financially deal. Because I didn't want to go back to this nightmare, and it's every shirt company. It's not even one, man. I've been through them all. You know, been through them all, dude. They're all this way. Whether they're owned by Indians or Chinese or fucking. I've had the Indians, the Chinese, the South Africans, uh, the Filipinos. I've been owned by all the ones, the whites, all of them. So it doesn't matter. It's just the industry is fucking toxic. But it was a way to earn a living. And I had fucking student loans to pay off. Like people were like, "Why don't you just get into comics?" I'm like, "Because it's not steady work." Like, well, you just get a contract. Oh, I just go and just sign up for that fucking $120,000 2-year contract from Marvel and DC. They're just handing out left and right, right? Like you just stand in the line for that. Why is it the same? It's like the World Series of Poker. Why is it the same guys? It's the same people all the fucking time. And the new ones are coming from other countries where they can pay less, like South America, Italy. You know, I'm still waiting for art. I sent in August to get the final pay. $800, man. I've paid 600 over almost 6 months. It's fucking ridiculous. You know. So, if I sound worked up, believe me, I'll let it go in a second. But man, it's tough because I was actually pretty good at t-shirts. A lot of the shit you've seen is because of not just like say me drawing, it's designing, coming up with this, coming up taking this, grabbing scans. A lot of shirts, too many to count. You know, and I got ran out of an industry I was good at. You know, so I tried to go work at Jinx, and they were on board, but they work with the company I used to work for, and those people are vindictive. They don't like that I'm not there, so they go and complain. And so that was the last time I stopped. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. You know, I'm gonna have to start over. Gonna have to start over. How many times? Yeah. My problem with games there is I'm not gonna do 3D modeling. You know, I got carpal tunnel from doing 3D modeling and stuff. Like I'm just not button clicking is just not good for me. You know, for my health. I can't. It's just my wrist is not made for it. You know, that's why I don't fucking sit around doing vector art all the time, where I'm dragging anchor points and making everything super perfect because I get carpal tunnel, and I got a Cintiq, man. It doesn't work the same. You know, become the most viable way your own dev studio. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, look, if you can make your own stuff on top of that, even better. You know, so. But that's unfortunate too, because it's like this just it's like a brain drain. Remember what they call in World War II when all like the Jews left because of the Nazis? All the talent's leaving mainstream fucking creativity because they're being kind of pushed out by a bunch of people who are willing to accept yes stuff, and that yes stuff is going to kill the industry. You know, dude, we didn't even get paid days off. I'll never forget, man. I had to kill for a paid day off. They Yeah, if I went, it used to be if I went to a con, that just was a day I had to get off at least a month in advance, and it wasn't paid. So cons definitely were always like costing me money. But it was a year Avengers came out, and we sold more, you know, shit than ever because the merchandise in the Avengers was Spider-Man 1 level shit. It was fucking awesome. And the owner bought himself a new Lamborghini, and we got $25 gift cards to Target. One of our licensors, $25 gift cards. That was our Christmas bonus. You know, and they took us to see the Avengers, but we had to clock out, so we had to pay. I didn't go. I stayed and worked. I'm like, I'm not spending. How many hours are we gonna be gone? Nah, I'll go see the show on the weekend. Right. Yeah, well, that's where, I was telling Dave at the time, the garage gaming has to come back. I don't know how. And then Kickstarter magically appeared. And I tried to get Dave on Kickstarter in 2010, right when that shit first launched. He was like, I don't get it. I'm like, so, I mean, whatever, folks. Like, I'm over here rebuilding my career. And I'm fortunately in a financial position to be able to weather the not making a ton of profit time it's going to take to get back up there. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and take every fucking little job that comes my way just to get by. At that point, I'll get a day job. If it comes to me having to do that, I'll just get a day job, not being an artist. Because I'll come home and want to be an artist. You know? I don't need I don't need Nintendo or Marvel or my business card to make me feel legit. Yeah, my dad died, and then my fucking mother died. My mom died 1 year after, to the day. So now I'm like, well, it's fuck this. There's more to life than fucking this shit, you know. Yeah, my dad was young too, dude. He's too young. But stress got my dad. Stress. He stressed too much. He stressed too much, and he gave his money to young women, despite my fucking opinion about the matter. He was helping some broad, some stripper, fucking financially, and the fucking broad had the nerve to like get a hold of me and my brother and say, well, he promised he was going to pay my whatever. I'm like, he's dead. Like, well, he promised. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, sort of fucking God. you know, that's a true story, folks. Everyone has their weaknesses. My father, if he had heard me doing that kind of shit, I'd never hear the end of it, right? It does happen, dude. I don't know what it wasn't. My dad wasn't like that when I was younger, but it happened. Don't ask me how. So it's a cautionary tale, right? Like I look at it like, well, maybe one day my wife passes and I'm stuck in this weird. I will. That won't happen. You can only learn from this kind of shit, right? Oh no, it wasn't in his will, man. He didn't have the money to be supporting her anyway. You know, he had nothing. It was sad. It was really sad. You know. but I'm going to bum everyone out. So let's just say the fact that I'm even like, guys, even though things have taken longer than I'd planned, it's not because, like I haven't allowed the tragedies of the situations that have occurred over the last few years uh, really affect my work. I've tried to like put more into it. But yeah, yeah. This she had a pair, bro. I'll tell you that much. But whatever. We're all here now hanging out, right? We're only here hanging out because I decided to move on. You know. So do 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 do. All right, let's work on this. I'm gonna halo around these edges with the color pencil. Gives it kind of a glow. Not going over the other color, we're just around the edges. This is where color pencil beats Copic. Because you try to do this with the very light Copics and it just gets super muddy. Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. Life is life can be ridiculous, you know. So sometimes when I'm working on commissions and or any project and I stop to kind of go, "Oh, I'm going to try this technique over here." The reason for that is really quite simple. If I don't do that, what will happen is I may not do that for another year. And I don't know if I have another year to live. I don't really know that, you know? So I'd rather figure that out now and get it out my system and then move on. Now, is that really great for deadlines? Nope. But for the long term survival of my creativity, you know, it's more important. So sometimes I take a couple extra days longer because I'm like, oh, I get this idea. I think this can work out. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And it's like, well, that definitely didn't work out, you know. But these color pencils, using distressing for the background, which we'll be doing here in a little bit, all came from that. And I spent years where I would put off things like that, like watercolors, markers, going back to, I spent years where I was like, oh, I'll just do it, after this deadline or after that. And then I was never doing anything, new, you know, doing a lot of the same stuff over and over. So sometimes it annoys people who commission me because they're like, well, I mean, I thought you were going to. I'm like, yeah, but I got this idea about when I was working on it to do this, and let's see how that turns out. This is not freelance, man. This is fucking art. Like, I'm not over here playing fucking video games. Like, I'm trying to fucking make all this shit look better. I mean, it's rare. You go through like moments of like eurekas, and then it kind of settles in, and then you go through another moment. It's like you kind of level up in a way. Your mind gets to a point. That's how I started doing saucies. You know, pissed Dave off because we had to get Game Fan out, and I stopped to fucking go paint because I was like, you know what, man, this this Game Fan thing is just keep going. Because I must have made the first issue 3 times, 3 times complete before they finally fucking. Because every time he'd run out of money, you know, and they'd get pushed back another month, he'd want to put a bunch of new games in the magazine. So I made 3 issues that never even saw the light of day. You know. Yeah, that's how people are, bro. Yeah. Where did I put? Where did I put the other stuff? Yeah, the concept art for Destiny is better than the game. Yeah. Rusted spaceships with treasure chests and armor in it. That's Star Wars to me. Like in the game, it's all just high tech science, fantasy, techno boxes. And it's like I like that really rusted treasure thing on a spaceship. You don't have to tell me, Joey. You know, but you can usually prove it with the concept art. I only like the concept arts where you actually see things that aren't perfect. You know. What drives me nuts when they go, here's the concept art, and it's clearly a giant CG render. Like, that's not a concept. Like, the Empire Strikes Back, you know, concept art where it's literally like a pen sketch of Boba Fett as the sketch. That's concept art. You know, a lot of them are production art books. I mean, Battle Darksiders is cool because you actually have a lot of actual pencil sketches and shit in there. But, you know, like concept art from League of Legends is super high rendered Photoshop paintings. You're like, that's not concepts. You know. Sorry, guys. It's the art of. It's art, production art. But hey, Armando. Oh, nice. Yeah, I gotta finish that. Try to get out of it. The question with the Darksiders piece is one, you know, I'll probably end up having to do Copics on the characters, scan it in and relight and do the whole digital thing on top. So that's not what I'm talking about, though. I get it, you know, but we all know what I'm talking about. And I don't really care about buying a bunch of books with 3D models in it, so I stay away from it. All right. Careful, these Copics don't. Sometimes they bubble over. I'm told you have to open up both caps to keep them from doing that. I've only experienced it with Copics maybe in the last year or two, so my guess is it's a production error. Okay, here's a good example. So, like the art of Uncharted 2, they have those SketchUp base models that they built of the levels, right? That's concept. That's cool. What isn't concept is when they then paint over that for 30, 40 plus hours, you know, go through an art department, get approved, end up in the final game, and they go, that's concept art. So, block models, I get. Hey, I get it. You know, show process, but you know, call it the art of. Don't call it concept art. Big difference. Here's a concept art and some fully fucking super rendered piece. You're like, yeah, very concepty. There's your idea. Okay, where's the ideas that led to that idea? That's the concept. The Dofus books are great. The ones for the cartoons, they show all the steps. Yeah, but it'll be a while before I buy another Star Wars book, man. I'm getting back into it, but I put some of these stuff away when we get the distressings out. I'll keep that. I'm gonna put this over here and put all this shit back. We'll get this in here, and one of these things doesn't belong here. Let's get that over there. That there. Put all the pencils back. Leave that out. Put this back. And this one. Son of a bitch. Get in there. Come on. There you go. And this one. That goes there. That goes back in there. Okay. Let's put the markers back. I'm going to need some space. C5, W7. Oh, gotta make sure the caps are on, right? Unlike when I type. Let's see. Son of a bitch. Get in there. B15. B04. Gotta keep the markers on the floor. Because the window's too cold, it'll dry out the markers. Y35. Grab the skin tone. Okay. Woohoo! Oh, I knew I was forgetting one. Oh, no. It was right there. Done with the figure. Enough for now. I'll have to put white highlights on it when I'm done with the background. Yeah, it jumps. Squeezed and rusty. Where's my rusty hinge? What time is it? Ah, it's 5:17. I think I may have to continue this later tonight. It's supposed to stop at 5. So 2 hours behind today, but we're getting there. So what I'm gonna do is I gotta stop because I gotta go get dinner and stuff prepared. But I'm gonna be back on 9 or so, 9 p.m. my time. So I'll be back on about 4 hours, and then we're gonna do the background with distressing. See, boom, 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 and we'll add white highlights and wrap this up tonight. Okay. So good times, everybody. Good discussions in the chat room, everybody. Armando hanging out, Felix, Joey. Kyle was here. That was good. Who else was in? Let's go through there. Dom was here. Dom said hello. Leon and Brain, Crusher. So a bunch of people here today. Good times. I'll be back in a few, and we're gonna do the background, right? Get this all super spiffy, so it's not all white in the background. So you'll see. See y'all then. Peace, everybody. Gonna go eat. Nom, 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 nom.